right, here we are. It is another episode of Right Down the Middle with Bill, Fonzie, Alfonso. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. We're live on RVDTV.com and on Brass Ring Media's YouTube channel. And I'm happy to be here with Fonzie. Fonzie, how are you, man?
I am great, Daniel. Let's go. This is an episode. This is the memorial. We honor my dear friend and great friend, Sabu, tonight, who we lost Mother's Day, May 11th. Can't believe it. Cannot
Absolutely.
believe it. Otherwise, then the news, and it's affecting hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people. Dominic, you're a part of the GoFundMe for Sabu and raised $50,000 in one day. It was unbelievable. Thanks to everybody who participated in that, and a couple of big donors. You know who you are. Um, Thank you so much, man. And it's been tough. I was in St. Louis last week, and Sabu was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And Dominic, I was in Las Vegas for WrestleMania week, and we did that big WrestleCon Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I was there with Sabu, of course, and Van Dam and Katie and all my superstar friends. And we did great. The fans were great. And we had that big last that was built. GCW built it. Brett, the producer and owner, and the big, GCW. Um, Produced it as Sabu's last match. Bob Wire, hardcore, sold out, a couple thousand people, standing room only, and they wanted Fonzie too. I said, great. And we had a hell of a match. If I would have known that was his last match, oh my God, literally it was his last match, Dominic. I'm still having a hard time, with it, but
I believe it, Fonzie. It's been a really tough thing for everybody, and it's so heartwarming though to see everybody come in and support and show their love and care for Sabu and what he's been able to do for the industry and what he's been
oh
able
my
to do.
God, thank you so much, everybody, man.
Yeah,
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, have been
absolutely.
uh, celebrating Sabu's life and what he's done for the business.
Well, somebody who's been a big part of it too is somebody that was at GCW and at Sabu's last match as well. Was a pleasant surprise, and somebody that I love always to have on the shows and stuff like that. Really happy that Fonzie, you were able to set it up with him too. Want to welcome none other than Hack, aka Sandman, to the show. Hack, how are you, brother? He's chugging it up right now.
He's got his butt.
99 bananas, baby. What up, Daddy?
Hey, Sandman, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. And we're going to hear a few great stories from you. I know we're celebrating, and honoring Sabu tonight, as we all know, along with the hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. He loved us. My God, he was with you guys in Philadelphia that Saturday. He called me Sunday, say, hey, I'm hanging out with Sandman. I'm going to stay over a day and have cheesesteaks and all that. That was the last time I talked to him.
Pretty neat stuff. It's man, you guys, and obviously with the city of Philadelphia, the CAC, you guys know all about the relationships. I'm sure you guys got plenty of stories too from all that stuff back in the day.
Oh, dude, just some. I don't just sit Sabu alone. It's like, I don't know. He touched so many people. Like, it's like there's so many people in the business today. Because of him. I can't say that about my career. You know what I'm saying? But like he was the trailblazer, the trendsetter back in the day, and all those dudes freaking looked up to him. I mean, there's got to be like 15% of the people in the business. They're in the business just because of him.
Oh my gosh.
Like crazy numbers.
Unbelievable.
Sandman, all these shows that I still do all around the country for the last 5 years, I get so many of these young superstars that work for AIW and CCW, different companies, saying, oh my God, Sabu was my role model. I'm doing myself after him. Of course, they can't follow his act, but they try and they do well. But Sabu have, influenced a lot of people.
Yeah, way more. I didn't. Well, I guess if I really thought about it, I would have. But since him dying, then it just really came to the forefront how many people just got into this business.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And what he did for the business and how he changed the whole game and landscape of it all. He was so like I keep saying on shows like Sabu, like his the underground like rise of him was a little bit before my time. I was like I tuned into ECW later on, but to know what he was able to do and kind of change like really set the tone for the Attitude Era, set the tone for ECW, and for that new kind of unique style that Sabu only possessed. It that was very special and akin to what he was capable of. So,
And what a
It wasn't any of that. And I started in the 80s, and the hardcore stuff back then was like Brett Buzz Sawyer, just
right.
a little stiff doing, stiff stuff. But, uh, and I've been through so many generations where, I started in Bobo, Brazil. I guess a good story about the Sheik, Sabu's uncle. I'll tell you that later. I started with the Bobo Brazil and the Sheik and all those guys retiring. Then it was Dusty, and then the Barry Windhams, and then the Shawn Michaels, and it just went on to all these things. And then when Sabu hit, man, he did change the culture of the business in ECW. ECW and Sabu was such a big part of that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, it
Uh,
was great having him on your car. Like, you know what I mean? Because there was nothing like him then.
yeah,
Like, nobody, nothing like him, dude. You had him on your show, dude. You had a hell of a show going.
yeah, right.
Really, there was just no. Just think about how generic like the wrestling was then. But like you could have been a plumber, you could have been a cowboy, something like you know what I'm saying. But that dude, what a beast he was.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And the neat thing too about it, we had Sabu on the RVD show like a couple of times, and he told the story too about like how he got almost offered the gimmick of the Sultan in WWE and turned it down because he was afraid to compromise who he was and stuff like that, and he stuck to his guns. And you think about, yeah, he was somebody that was completely, he didn't need a gimmick necessarily. Sabu was Sabu, and the fact that he didn't talk a lot of the times, everything like that, added to the element of who he was and the mystery of him too. In a lot.
Absolutely, not doing promos, not ever talking. You know what I mean? It maybe it helped him and hurt him a little bit too, because like if you can talk to the audience, you know what I mean, you can make that little deeper connection rather than having Fonzie blowing his whistle, yelling and screaming and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it helped and hurt his character, but
you know when Sabu did speak on rare occasions, he would say 2 or 3 words and it counted. People were, mesmerized by him saying Taz, or.
Yeah, and he didn't like the thing is like we were talking with Taz too, and he was like, yeah, he didn't like talking at all. Like you wouldn't like it was all Paul E's idea to have him talk because Sabu wasn't going to be an advocate for that in a lot of ways.
It was Paul E's idea to have him on that gurney too and have 911 roll him out there. Sabu hated that thing.
Yeah. That was the Hannibal Lecter thing, right? When he did the
he hated it because he had to be like unleashed fury. Like he felt like once he got unhooked from his constraints, he had to go super crazy, and that's the one thing I don't think he liked about it.
Right. Hack, what was your first kind of interaction with Sabu? Do you remember that, and how you guys kind of like?
I'll tell you the biggest one I remember was because Fonzie, I wasn't really like, they weren't like part of my crew, like Sabu and Van Dam, like in the beginning, because I wasn't their kind of guy. You know what I mean? I was loud, I was boisterous, I was fucking drunk and shit. So Fonzie made that marriage for us, and I remember the first time Sabu came with the Winnebago. I think me and Fonzie flew into Pittsburgh because me and Fonzie would always fly out every Friday morning, 6:30, with a cocktail, first class U.S. Airlines. Fonzie knew everybody, and Fonzie had to convince him. He's like, no, it was his first day with the RV. The RV's like brand spanking new.
Yeah, he just bought it.
Yeah, and I had this freaking I didn't have a cooler with me or something. I had beers in a bag with ice or something.
Oh, I know this story. Yeah.
Go ahead, Fonz. Tell
No. You tell it better.
Yeah, so dude, I'm on Sabu's bus for less than less than a half a mile.
Uh-huh.
He makes the turn. My beer spills all over on the floor. The cans go rolling under his feet as he's trying to drive this big damn bus. You should have seen the look on Fonzie Adams' face. Oh, it was great.
It was great, but he was very cool about it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was. Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have been that cool about, because it's like your first date with a new toy.
Right.
You can't mess up my new toy.
Right. I was gonna ask Hack if you were on the Winnebago, so clearly you were.
He just posted a great picture of all of us sitting around the Winnebago and
Awesome.
probably 97 or 98 or
Wait,
something.
you know who that was? That was Kurt Hawkins that took that picture that sent it to whoever we were talking on, to whoever's podcast we were on.
Wow, really?
Kurt Hawkins sent that picture as a fan.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That was his picture from in the parking lot.
And he was my age, so he was like
That's
13 or
cool.
whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. How about that? That is wild. Fonzie, okay, and I'm sure we talked about this before. How was your first impression of Sabu and meeting him and everything like that when it came into play?
Well, we clicked right away because the first professional match, I was trying to break into business for a couple of years. Finally, The Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson, sent me and my best friend, the Cuban assassin, Dave Sierra, to Texas. And they booked him because he was a wrestler. And he said, Fonzie, come with me to Texas. And I'm going to tell them you're my little brother and that you're a referee. And that's what I've been striving for. I wanted to be a wrestler, but I was 150 pounds. So no way. Thank God, because I had longevity being a referee. So I went out to Texas. And I was there for 6 months trying to break in, but they had Bronco Lubitsch, David Manning, this guy, that guy. No, but there was 4 territories in Texas. Joe Blanchard was San Antonio and Corpus Christi, and the Von Erichs were Dallas in that area. The Funks were Amarillo in that area, and Paul Bosch only ran Houston. So really, there was 4 territories in Texas. But so. The Dallas office would send guys up to do TV with the Funks, and they said, "Oh, send the Cuban David Sierra and his little brother. We need a referee." So I get to Amarillo. First time I'm refereeing, I'm making $90. Our main event was the Sheik, Sabu's uncle, and Terry Funk in a chain match.
Wow.
And they had the match and the blood and guts and all that
match.
sold out. And the Sheiks pulled out a pencil, a gimmick, and start stabbing the Funk, and he stabbed me in the arm, and I still got the lead mark right here where he stabbed me with a pencil in 1978. So the first time I met Sabu, I told him the story that I was trying to get booked. Rocky Johnson sent us out there, helping me, and this and that, and my first professional match, I made $90 a referee to your uncles, and we clicked like that. He loved the story, and automatically we clicked, and he knew I was old school. So we clicked, and we were together every weekend, basically for 5 years.
Wow. How about that?
Dude, a lot of people don't realize, like in the professional wrestling world, that Fonzie's refereed so many unbelievably huge historic matches.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling even to me.
Right? It's great. Like the resume, not only that Fonzie had as like a manager and stuff like that, and who he's interacted throughout the course of that career, but the referee career is even more so impressive, I think, in a lot of ways.
Wow, dude! Just some of the stuff that he's been in around, like I'll if something comes across my timeline or I'm watching something, I'll be like, Fonz was reffing that match.
Right?
You know what I mean? And it could be like freaking a Baba against Hogan or something like that.
Right, Tokyo, Ric Flair, Fujinami, 65,000 people in 1991. Fonzie and made the cover of the magazine. I got my airline ticket right here that I went over, round trip. Pretty fucking cool. Made the cover of the magazine with Giant Gonzalez, the tallest athlete on the planet. I ran with him for 3 years, being his personal assistant. Very cool. Wahoo McDaniel, Kevin Sullivan back in the day, my God, and the list goes on and on. WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace, Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez is so cool. So many cool things and so many covers of magazines like Dusty and Kevin Sullivan back in the day. My God, the list goes on and on.
Man.
Yeah, dude, I'm in high school buying them magazines. I think they were $1.25 a piece. Right?
Yeah, Bill After, which we were going to have on tonight, but unfortunately we couldn't get a hold of him for some reason. But hey, Bill, thanks for trying.
Right, we'll have to get him on another time. But man, like, just your resume is unprecedented, Fonzie, and it won't be duplicated again either because never. It can't be. It's just like all the legend that you've interacted with, and then you're interacting with new talent today too at the same time. It's just like you're covering all the ground here. You're just it's
My
really
goodness, I'm working the last 5 years for a company out of South Florida, CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling. They're fantastic. They got a good spot there. I work in Cleveland for AIW, John Thorne, badass, with Matthew Justice and all those superstars.
Dude, Fonzie is busy more weekends than any other ECW talent ever, probably.
yeah.
Hey, Sandman, we were just in Cleveland a couple of last month, and me and you got the biggest pops.
Yeah, we did.
And I've been going there 5 years, once a month for 5 years. I get a Fonzie tank. I can't believe it.
Yeah, but they worked you out that night, Fonz. You were in like 3 matches, taking like 5 bumps. Steve.
Jeez.
He was working his ass off that night.
Hey, it's not easy to be Fonzie sometimes, but I love it. Sabu would say, "You pussy, keep going," you know.
Of course.
Yeah, right. The boss chimes in, not Bruce Springsteen, but Sandman Sabu Stairway to Hell match, a classic ECW moment.
Oh my God. Is that why he broke his jaw?
Was that the one where, remember, was that the one where the belt was hanging in the middle of the ring and I wanted Sabu to do the spot where he climbs, I push him over, he goes over the top rope and goes through the tables on the floor. He goes, I'm not doing that spot. So I ended up doing, I think I got knocked out in front. I don't know if it was that match or not, but fucking, I look up, like you're just seeing stars or you see that like white flash.
Mm-hmm.
And Fonzie smacking me into my face and saying, yo, daddy, you with me, daddy?
We were talking about might have been the night where Sabu broke his jaw. You almost could push the table out of the way, but he hit the table, and we taped his jaw up in the ring, and he finished the match with a broken jaw.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what Jay Hawley just said. Sabu broke his jaw on that one. How about
that? And when he ripped open his bicep and he goes, Fonzie, go get me some tape. Fonzie runs in the locker room, gets some tape, and tapes up something that should have been being surgically repaired at that second.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, during the barbed wire match too.
Match, yeah.
The famous barbed wire match, and the guy who sets up the barbed wire made a big mistake. He went to the barbed wire store, and there's 3 different strands. There's medium barbed wire for the calves, and there's a little bit bigger barbed wire for the bigger cattle, and there's big wire like this for the fucking ox baker type cattle, and that's what the guy bought. We put it up and said, no, you bought the wrong one. That was his fucking, he went out there. So anyway, his spot, he ripped his arm open from his shoulder all the way down to his elbow, and I'd say about a 1/4 inch wide, his meat was hanging out. He goes into shock and said, oh, Fonzie, give me some tape. So I run back and get him some white tape that the boys use to tape their wrist to go to the ring. And so he starts taping it up during the match, and Terry Funk grabs him and gives him a reverse neck breaker on a steel chair, and he's still taping it up on the way down. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I watched that the other day.
It was fantastic. And only Sabu could do stuff like that. Nobody else had the balls or the courage or the pain tolerance or whatever Sabu had. It was so unique. That's why he's a legend, is one of a kind. That's why 1 million people are celebrating his passing.
Absolutely. Hack, talk about.
Let me just finish that.
Yeah.
So we get back to the dressing room, and he needs about 40 stitches or more in
Ooh,
staples. So he says, no anesthesia, do it right now. I'm not going to the hospital. So they start stitching him up in the restroom. So about halfway down, he says, Fonzie, oh, this kind of hurts. He says, go to 7-Eleven and buy me super glue. Now they have medical grade super glue, what they use in the hospitals on surgeries, medical grade. Back then, we
It was
used the super
costing
glue from
your skin.
7-Eleven, and he taped it up. All the toxicity he put in his body, my God. No wonder he's fucking dead today.
man, man.
Crazy, the stuff
Yeah,
that
but
he did. God bless him.
Fonzie's so right. He totally introduced super glue into the wrestling business.
That's wild. Wow.
And everybody did it after that. I got a thing right here. Can you see this one right here?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
See that? That's from a barbed wire thing that we super glued. It was so deep. The reason
Right?
that like that is because it was so deep. You should have had like stitches underneath the skin. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I just had my wife freaking pinch it together and super glued it, and I was on my way.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
business.
Man, man. What I wanted to ask you too was just what you hear how, obviously when you interact with Sabu, he's a little guarded at first, but then he opens up to you once you get to know him a little bit and things like that. Talk about kind of like his generosity and kindness that you kind of got to see over the years.
What do you give me? He was the first guy I ever seen at an independent show where nobody got paid,
Mhm.
and Sabu out of his own pocket paid for a ticket for a guy to get
Oh
home
my God, he sure did.
be- because the guy didn't have. And I actually learned that lesson. I ended up paying that forward at a place too where I was at one time. A guy didn't have a flight home, and I paid for his flight. I didn't get paid to go wherever I went, but that's just what you do. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And Sabu taught me that. It's like it's a. I was probably a little bit. I was probably I would be considered a more selfish person early in my life than I was later on in my life. And
Yeah, you're generous now, Hack. Thank you. You're generous now, but thank you. But you had to learn,
yeah,
and we learned from people like Sabu. Sabu was, you know how Sabu broke into business?
Yeah, explain.
I'll
Go.
tell you the story, a
Yeah.
long story in a short version. So Sabu lived in Michigan, and his mother was the original Sheik Eddie Farhat's sister.
Yep.
You know, and Sabu lived in Michigan, and of course, the Sheik, the great Sheik, one of the biggest stars on the planet in the '60s and '70s,
literally.
and all over the world. And uh, so Sabu kept getting these little troubles, fights or this or that. He got busted, whatever. So he was at a gas station. He was with one of his friends, and somehow his friend got shot. Somebody shot his friend. So Sabu approaches the guy who shot him, but the guy who shot his friend puts a gun in Sabu's mouth, pulls the trigger. The bullet goes through Sabu's mouth, busts 7 teeth, broke his jaw, and went out the end of his back here below his ear. So they rushed him to the hospital. He didn't want to stay in the hospital too long. About 2, 3 days, he went home and told his mom that day, the Mom, I've had enough. I want to become a professional wrestler. Can you please call my uncle and tell him I want to become a professional wrestler? So the mother, the Sheik's sister, called the Sheik and said, hey, Sabu, Terry wants to do this and do that. And so the Sheik said, tell him to pack his bags for 1 year. And the Sheik had this big estate in Detroit, Michigan, where he had a gym and a
You
training
saw it
center
on
and
his
a big
show.
house
Yep.
and a big black Cadillac 1967 limousine, black, beautiful. So he picked Sabu up. And for 7 months, Sabu work with the Sheik. He stayed at the Sheik's house. He never got in the ring. In the morning, he would set up the ring. In the afternoon, take it down. He would cut the Sheik's grass. He would clean his house if it didn't even need cleaning. So Sheik kept him out of the ring for 7 months. Finally, in 7 months and one day, he let him in the ring, and the rest is history. He became one of the most famous suicidal. He became like the Sheik Uh, not an ordinary professional wrestler. The Sheik was unordinary and a bigger than life, superstar. And that's what Sabu became. I hope I'm not stuttering. I'm just
No,
excited telling
no,
the
yeah,
story because, I'm so devastated that we lost Sabu. It's hard sitting here talking about him, and I got thousands of pictures of us, and my God, I spent so much time with him for the 6 or 7 years, and it's just hard. But we're celebrating. We're doing a good job telling. He would love this. He would love this.
oh man, yeah, it's been really heartwarming to see all the cool clips and videos and people sharing stories and
Oh my
everything.
goodness, you're right.
The outpour of people have been really, really awesome to see. And his sister Paulina is in the house too, so she pops in and
Paulina, hey babe, hey
she's tuning
kid.
in too. So good to see
I
her.
know your uncle. Get to work with your uncle, and of course, I got to work with your brother, who became just so good friends. And he really. I'm a little bit older than Sabu, not by much, but we're both old school. I think that's why we click so much.
Absolutely, right. Hell yeah. Um, so talk about too, I guess, just in general, like traveling with Sabu and interacting with him, like over the course of the years too, Hack, and you too, Fonzie. Yeah,
He's so laid back, dude. It's like he's not saying much. Like anytime, anywhere. You know what I mean? He's just not a talker like I am, or like Fonzie is. You know what I mean? But he was like, I could say E.F. Hutton, but nobody nowadays would understand that. It's an old commercial.
I remember.
Like a broker or something like that. Dude, but if Sabu talked, you listened.
oh yeah,
Because he didn't talk a lot, you know what I mean? And to me, when he said something, it had to be important. It had to be important.
right.
Yes.
And the neat thing too, my little interaction with him, whether it was on the show here with RVD or anything like that, just like his immediate insight that he would have about wrestling is just like he's just on the ball with it all and was just like knew his shit. You could tell like the Sheik, and he learned so much from the Sheik and just the aspect of storytelling. You could tell that in the ring too at the same time.
Oh, and I'm sure he was as horrified as me and Fonzie are what like AEW has turned into. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
school, world, school, you know what I mean?
Sabu was old school, but he could mix in with the new school. But he preferred being old school. Back in the day, the heels and the baby faces would get dressed in two different dressing rooms. They wouldn't see each other till they got in the ring and had their matches and all that. But Sabu could adjust to any situation, but he preferred old, hardcore, traditional. Bobo Brazil, the Sheik, Dusty of those days, really kayfabe, protected the business, loved the business. He lived and breathed for the business, and he gave so much and took so little out of the business.
Yeah, there's just so much. Rob on the show last week was talking about how generous he was and how like it was almost to a fault where it would be like Rob would want him to do more.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was absolutely to a fault how generous he was.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, because you just, and I say it all the time too. He should be in any and every pro wrestling hall of fame. Like there's no reason that he should not be in any of them, like across the board. No matter it's WWE or what they do in Waterloo or anything, you name it.
All Japan, dude, Japan.
Oh, yeah. All of
Pride, any of them.
Any of them for sure. Yeah. I'll take some comments here too. Harry Slash, who does the
Sabu. Harry Slash.
Hey,
that's Paul Heyman's boy.
Yeah. He said if Sabu had worked a show or signing, he'd never let me pay for dinner, regardless of how much or how little he got paid. There were times I had to pay the check behind his back just to treat him. How about that? Wow.
Right.
What a man. That's awesome.
He would tell me all the time. He said, "Order like you're buying, and I'll pay."
Man, wow.
That's a great saying.
He said the Sheik told me that. Order like you're buying and I'll pay,
Man, that's good. What I like too about Sabu is like during the later years too, he would come out and he looked dressed like the Sheik. It was just like in a suit and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was such a cool like
homage.
Dude,
the Sheik too.
Dude, we could be in Iceland, in freaking, or the Antarctic. Sabu would get off the plane with shorts sometimes.
Crazy.
Wouldn't he find? I didn't know the dude had a pair of long pants for years. He
Right.
never freaking wore them.
Here's a picture, but all of us got shorts on. This is at Terry Funk's ranch
Double Cross Ranch.
in Texas. It's Chris Candido, RVD, Taz, Fonzie, and of course Sabu. We all got the fanny packs and shit. It's a very cool picture.
Is that me? The red pants?
That's Van Dam.
That's Rob. That's
I
RVD.
can't say. I got it's real small on my phone.
Yeah. No, that's RVD. But Sabu too. He's got the cowboy boots on that Taz gave him. I think.
Shorts and cowboy boots, walking through airports like that, not giving a damn.
Make it a fashion statement.
I posted that picture. I guess it was last year and got close to 100,000. They love the combination.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Hack, we kind of talked about it, but did you think? You watched the Sheik Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh, of course. What are you kidding me? I made sure I stayed up to watch it live. I never watch any of those live, not even my own.
You didn't, not even your own.
Yeah, right. Seriously, no. I mean, I get it in the next couple days.
I know that story. Yeah, I know that one. Man.
Yeah, I lived it. I filmed it already. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But man, such a cool thing for him to be able to talk about his uncle like that and everything. And
I thought the coolest thing was because I had a problem. I had one problem with Sabu and one problem only. And Fonzie, I'm going to bring this story up. We were in Orlando, but we were the hotel that we were staying at was in Kissimmee.
Yeah, Kissimmee.
And my brother died.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah.
So Fonzie calls me up. Fonzie's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Yeah, I need to take a nap." He's like, "Yo." So Sabu said he's going to let you win tonight. I'm like, "What?" Because my deal was, dude, I don't think I've beaten Sabu because Paul would never put us when I had the belt. And the only time I ever won a match was when I had the belt. I lost every single freaking all the time.
Yeah.
I was the loser. And Fonzie goes, Sabu's going to say, "It's all right, you can go over tonight." I said, "Tell Sabu, no, I'm good. He's going over." But it goes to show you that, and I didn't understand it back then, of course, just like I didn't understand, Shane Douglas.
Was he doing that because Oliver passed?
Huh?
Did Sabu want to put you over because Oliver passed?
Yeah. Yeah, and you were the one giving me the message. He's like, "Oh, yeah, Sammy can win tonight." And I'm like, "No, I ain't fucking winning tonight."
He's doing that just to make you feel better. He had a heart. He was trying
to
make
but that's the point that I'm making, that
he
never lost. He made sure he never lost. You know what I'm saying? Until the big payoff thing. But that was instilled in Sabu's head that you can't lose. Yeah. So, and it all, I understood it before, but I didn't really understood it until I saw the freaking Dark Side of the Ring about his uncle. I ain't putting anybody over, dude.
You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was that rare occasion where he did it for Bobo Brazil because of the riots going on and all that stuff at the time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just crazy, man. What a cool story that is, though. There's some other good comments in here too. Boaster says, "When I heard Sabu's passing, I broke down in tears because I know how much sacrifice he has done in professional wrestling business and absolutely respect what he has done to entertain me. R.I.P." Very good comment there, Boaster. So thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Very cool.
Tom also adds, "I have a good story about meeting Sabu and Fonzie. A great talk while burning one, talking about type 1 diabetes, and Sabu's mom walked around the table and hugged me at WrestleCon." That's awesome. Good to hear.
Wow.
Hey, dude, I love that.
Yeah, how about that? Oh man, some real good stuff. That's what's the cool thing about Sabu too, is anytime you would see him, he would give you a hug and he would chat with you. He felt like he appreciated you, and the same way was the thing about it, interacting with them too. It was great. He never let anybody out to think a certain way about that either, which was cool.
And to me, it's just I mean, because I'm myself.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I am myself. I am myself in freaking Walmart as I am myself going to the goddamn ring doing an entrance nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm myself. I super respect people that are themselves all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And he's that kind of guy. Fonzie's that kind of guy, or we wouldn't be such friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
Consistent for me. I don't like inconsistency, and
Yeah.
he was super consistent.
Oh, that's a great way to put it too. He was too. That was what he's about. And like the thing is like, yeah, he wasn't like a super social or anything like that. But when you interacted with him, he cared about you, and you could show that he showed that too, which was great.
Well,
You know?
and another thing, I used to love my favorite part about working was with him was we didn't have to go out there because, dude, like even today, think about it, some of these AEW matches. These guys have to like 150 things to remember.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah,
Literally, you're in a 6-man with like FTR and the Young Bucks and shit like that. You know how much shit everybody's remembering in that match.
right.
You know what I'm saying? With Sabu, he was the one that taught me. He goes like, listen, when I go to set up a table, it's okay for you to just stop me. You don't have to call it.
Yeah.
You do it. So we don't want it to make it look so like much of a dance.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like breakdowns in between the dance.
Almost like a shoot.
Yeah, he taught me how to do the things in between the times that you're doing absolutely nothing in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he taught me.
Mm-hmm. He knew the little details, all about the in between stuff, which was great, you know. And and even just seeing stuff like he would do stuff that felt so erratic and felt so wild and out of place,
but it wasn't.
It wasn't at all. Which I've never seen anybody like that. Like going back and seeing these matches and highlights of it all, it's just like, dude, Sabu is on the ball all the time. It felt like,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It didn't matter fucking what condition he was in.
Yeah,
but he was just so easy to work with because if you think about it, all you had to do was watch him, and I'm playing off of him. That's why I loved our matches so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to because I'm a natural caller in the ring.
Right.
Like I'm watching me, Stevie, and Funk in our very first pay-per-view. I'm calling all of that. Funk's not fucking calling it. Stevie's not calling it. I'm a caller in the ring. But with Sabu, I didn't have to be a caller. I had to be a watcher.
Yeah.
That's it. We didn't have to call shit. I just had to watch him, and you knew what the next progression was going to be.
Man, yeah, that's the aspect of it.
It's really how
I believe it.
It was such poetry. It was such a pleasure. It was such a night off. I mean, you're going through ladders, tables, chairs, lions, tigers, and bears, but it's easy when you're out there with him. Some hard fucking night. But with Sabu, it's like, piece of cake.
Piece of cake. It's a cakewalk today.
It is. That's how easy to be that. Dude, that's the reason too why he's so over in the business with the boys is because he just made it easy.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy, the shit he's doing, but he just made it easy.
Man, yeah.
In the last 7 or 8 days, I've had watched the thousands of videos people are posting of some of the cool stuff that's, putting little clips together, little 30-second clips of Sabu doing this and that. I said, damn, I can't believe it that, seeing all this stuff again. And all the stuff that he put his body through is a miracle that he can walk. My God, how did he do that, Sandman?
No,
how did he do that night after night after night, year after year? It was crazy the stuff he was doing.
Especially when you got guys that aren't willing to get the fuck under you and catch you.
That's it too, right?
Dude, it's a two-way street, every single one of those spots, dude. You got to be there to protect him.
Yeah.
And that was so easy for me. I'm like, all I got to do is catch him. No problem.
No, I got it.
I'm like, we're good.
We're all right.
had to do nothing. He was the easiest match. They look like they're the hardest fucking matches I've ever had, but they were the easiest matches I ever had.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
He brought the intensity, but he knew the balance of it all too at the same time.
Yes, there's a balance in the match.
There's a balance.
People don't get the balance anymore.
Nope.
And it didn't shock me. We're talking about all that, and we're still talking about Sabu in the last 8 or 9 days. And I've been getting the messages from every city and state in the United States, from 4 or 5 different countries. In Japan, people are messaging me, telling me, sorry for your loss and etc. and stuff. Like, I just can't believe all the outpouring for Sabu. We put up that. You're a big part of that GoFundMe thing, and look what they raised in a matter of hours. Hours, and I'm, $50,000. My God, he was so well liked, and that's, when we put up GoFundMe for this guy and that guy, they'll help them out and raise money, but nothing like for Sabu, And it didn't shock me. I expected something to happen like that, but it happened so quick. Crazy in a good way.
Yeah, and there were so many great names that contributed from fans, but to a lot of colleagues. I want to shout out Scott Demore. He gave 15 grand. And then,
thanks, Scott, who's a real cool guy, and I love him. Chris Jericho, he's worked with Sabu for years and years. Love Sabu, and he donated a large amount of money. Thank you, Chris Jericho.
Chris did a lot. I saw Joel Gertner donated some. Joey Janela donated some. Who else? You mentioned Hack. You mentioned him. Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers donated. There was a lot of cool names. It was really neat to see. Blue Meanie, I know, did some too. So shout out to so many people. And even if you just shared it too, thank you so much for everybody that has contributed and for the GoFundMe and stuff. And there's a cool T-shirt too you can get on Pro Wrestling Tees. All those funds go to Sabu's family. Help him out too. You can check it out. Sabu tribute shirt. It has Sheik and Genie on there as well. It's really, really, really well done. So be sure to check that out.
Hey, speaking of T-shirts, Daddy, you guys want to see the Fonzie edition, special Fonzie edition?
No, you put up an opening for
Fonzie. I let him in.
Okay, Daddy, I got RVD's approval. And Sabu was in Philadelphia with Sandman at the ECW Arena doing a WrestleCon. He called me that Sunday, and he said, Fonzie, we had just did that GCW retirement match, Bob Wire, in Las Vegas, and then the Bob Wire match, and it was, fantastic. So he calls me that Sunday. He says, hey, Fonzie, I want to do one more match. I want to do it in Tokyo. One more retire. I got it in me. I want to do it. I said, okay. So so we talked about his shirt. And RVD loves it. I just sent him a couple today, and it's and I was gonna say hardcore world tour, but since we're not going to Japan and we only did that one, we call it the Legends Tour. So it's gonna be available at all the merchandise tables and everywhere I go. It's a really nice shirt. People are gonna love it, and you can go to Bob Piskor or photographer.com.
Yep.
Bob Piskor or photographer.com. You can see it right there.
Yeah, please show us the picture. Your voice ain't carrying it.
I know it, Daddy. I know it. Bob Pisk or photography.com. And just click on merch.
It's like a work page.
All the information come up. You can buy it right online.
But Bob, he lives in Pittsburgh. He actually trained my brother in the ring. So
oh yeah, I love that kid. He's cool. He talks very highly of you, and he loves your brother. Oh yeah.
Yeah, good. He's a good dude.
He's listening right now. He's
tuning in. I know for sure. So shout out to him as well.
Hey, Dominic, can you read that?
Yep. Special edition Fonzie t-shirts are available at bobpiscorphotography.com. Just click on the merch collabs and all the info is there. So check it out, guys. Be sure to help out.
Oh, yeah, Daddy. The shirt's fucking dope as fuck. And RBD loves it.
High quality stuff. Hack, what do you just overall, the influence that Sabu had on the business and him kind of just what else did you learn from him basically, I guess, too? Was there other aspects that you learned from him?
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
Patience in the ring. He was never in a hurry to do anything. You know what I mean? Just what confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't go into the ring with somebody like Sabu and not learn some confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's freaking 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, and he was just doing shit that nobody else was doing. And like, I'm laying on the mat, and I'm like, this is freaking great. But I know it's great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He did an opponent like that. Because I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do an entrance, you know what I mean? But dude, after the entrance, the wrestling goes downhill after that.
Well, I don't know. You might have seen this clip before, Pack. You might have been there for all I know. But I saw a clip, and Fonzie, you might have seen this too. But apparently Sabu entered to Like a Virgin the one time. He came out to Madonna, and you didn't see that? And it was almost to like prove a point that like you theme music helps, but it's not the end all be all too. When it's just kind of, I thought that was kind of a neat.
Did he sell it?
Yeah, I think he sold it and everything. He just came out to it. It didn't like he didn't dance around, I don't think, to it all, but definitely played into it a little bit, like just played into it. So, pretty funny stuff though. Cool. We also have some other people saying in Brad asked, hey, same man at the time. Oh, did you take too much acid and wrestle Sabu? Did that happen?
I don't think he was in that match.
Okay.
I was the one in Pittsburgh. I did all the ecstasy the night before.
Oh, okay.
And then I did all the acid, and I didn't let anybody know that I was giving them a little piece of it at the time.
Oh, man.
That was fun shit. That was Lizard. That was in Pittsburgh in the Golden Dome.
The Golden Dome. Okay, wow. Okay, that's
I was so.
That's your neck of the woods, Dominic.
That's my neck of the woods.
I have no idea how high I was that night.
Funny side story. So, first time I met Rob in person was, well, no, not in person, but we went to a show together. It was at the the Roast Raver Ice Garden.
Ross Raver,
that's what it is. Yep.
Ross Raver.
Yep, Ross Raver Ice Garden is the show we first saw each other at. So, pretty funny shit, though. Oh, my gosh. Bodie says Sabu only good memories, fun and inspiring, mythical with that headdress that he wore, the moves, the music, the silence in his speech. That character was nuts in ECW. Heck yeah. Fonzie, what was it like too, just being at ringside for all these matches, seeing the athleticism of Sabu, obviously RVD too, but what he was doing, you got front row seat every night for it.
Wow, yeah, I did have ringside, and I had to. I can't believe I look back at it and say how lucky was Fonzie to have RVD, the whole effing show, and Sabu, Suicide, Homicide, Genocide of Sabu, and at ringside. Man, what a career it gave me. I'm still working.
Because of those two.
Yeah, Daddy. In 2001. And I was an international referee, WrestleManias, WCW, getting phone calls from Ted Turner, Eddie Grant, worked all over the world refereeing. And the reason I'm working every weekend is not because I was a 5-star international referee, it's because I was a manager of RVD and Sabu. That's why I'm still working this every fucking weekend. Thank you, guys. And having that ringside seat was just amazing. And I thought I had seen everything.
Yeah.
I'd been in the business 25 years before I went to ECW in May 1995. And then, said, my God, it opened me up to a whole different world. It was fantastic having that ringside seat. Couldn't believe it. I fit right in for some reason. Got along with Van Dam and Sabu tremendously. They like me. The gimmick.
Dude, everybody loves you, Fonzie. Everybody loves you. You didn't get lucky. You were just being your fucking self.
That's so true too.
You know who else loves me? That big fat blonde in Minneapolis.
Oh no.
You know, I got a beautiful tall blonde Hungarian wife, but boy, them big fat blondes in Minneapolis love me.
They look like Fonzie back then.
What?
I didn't know this story, Fonzie. I didn't know those stories.
I don't know. I can say I don't know, but he can say like a couple things that I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that week.
I remember, yeah. Oh man, Fonzie, how about that?
And we at ECW, we were borrowing money from Peter to pay Paul to get by. So ECW, we were doing good, so we were making $12 million a year, the company, but we were spending 13 to make the 12. But man, what a great time we had, man! Unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. We went to Tokyo. The ECW went to Tokyo, and I was at Sabu's wedding in Japan. It was unbelievable. Me, Van Dam, and the Sheik. You know, it was a big ordeal. And worked in every major city in the United States. ECW
Yeah,
was
but
big because of Sabu and Van Dam and Sandman and Tommy Dreamer and Taz, of course. And, of course, Paul Heyman, the brainstorm, and Todd Gordon, the founder.
Fonzie made a great point that how many independents in 1990, fucking or 90, whatever, in the 90s were working at Corrigan Hall?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
None.
Yeah.
No such thing, never even heard of.
Nope.
Right?
We're an independent from fucking Philadelphia. We're working Corrigan fucking Hall. And me and Sabu tore the house down that night.
Yeah, man.
I watched it.
How about that? Yeah, man. So good. Such good shit, man. Such good shit.
Yeah, dude. Paul's
Mhm.
like, all right, there's Japan, right? There's the ECW arena now, but back in the day, there was like the Omni and the Sportatorium. They were certain buildings that you wanted to be in, that you had to work in. You know what I'm saying? I never got my chance in the Omni, or I never got my chance in the Sportatorium, but I would have loved to have had them. And I'm sure Fonzie's been in both of them 180 times.
Yeah, I have. And can you imagine if ECW, the only reason ECW didn't go to Madison Square Gardens, you know, that's a small venue. It doesn't hold 80,000 people. And I forgot the capacity.
22,500 for
You
wrestling.
know, ECW would have sold it out if it was 1998 if we would have had the opportunity.
Absolutely.
100%. Man, Hammerstein was such a neat, unique venue though too. At the same time.
Oh, Hammerstein! I love the Hammerstein.
Yeah, what a great venue that is too.
Burke Liquor Center in Buffalo, New York. That's where Van Dam won the TV title. We had it 2 years. And here's the spike has been Sabu came out during the match against Bam Bam Bigelow. And as Bam Bam was picking up Sabu for the big power slam, Sabu pulled out the spike, and this is the spike right here. He signed it for
nice,
It spiked him right in the head, you know, and he got the juice. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I'll never give that. You can offer me $5,000 for that. I wouldn't sell it.
Dude, you're smart as shit for just even keeping that stuff.
Right? Yeah, just like
I don't have a pair of socks that I've worn to the ring. Seriously, I have
start collecting some socks, Sam, man, and sell them on eBay.
I got so much cool memorabilia. I must have 2,000 pictures of Sabu with me and Van Dam, or me and Sabu, or you know, just cool stuff, and a lot of it autographed like that. It was pretty cool.
Fonz, you could sell that room for a couple hundred G's easily.
Oh yeah, wrestling
you get $250,000 freaking like that probably if you put it on the internet. And the guy's like,
I get a belt right over here. It's a replica, but Harley Race gave it to me.
Nice.
He gave it to me. Somebody made it for him, and it's pretty cool. It was an NWA belt back in the day. Here's me holding it over Ric Flair.
Here it is right there. Yep. Dang.
That famous belt. And there's Harley Race. You know, he won it that night. He probably wrestled Barry Windham. But here's the belt that Harley Race gave it to me. Somebody made it for him, and Harley gave it to me. Unbelievable.
Oh, that was that old belt.
Yeah.
All right, Fonz, is this story true that you really like Was it Harley that put up the 10 G's for Tommy Rich to be able to get the belt? Did you really
Yes.
have to put up 10 G's back then?
Yeah, sure it was. Of course, Tommy Rich was such a big star for 605 on TBS. Every side,
805 with a piercing brawl ended every 2 hours.
Brother, Gordon Sody was the best. He was a Joey Styles back then for NWA, like Joey was for ECW.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
No, dude, when I got cable in my neighborhood in Broomall, Pennsylvania,
Oh, Bruno, yep.
in 1979, dude, I know the only thing that I knew about other professional wrestlers that weren't in the WWF or had been through there in the last like 10 years, I had never seen them. And then, dude, then the next thing you know, Turner comes on at 6:05 when I got cable on TBS. I was losing my fucking mind.
Yeah, right.
It was the greatest thing ever.
Man, yeah,
it's dude to me.
Such a different flavor.
Right now, thinking about it,
man, yeah,
it was so cool. They ended every show with a Pier 6 freaking brawl. It was
Sabu worked for all the
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes. Speaking of Dusty, I worked with Dusty. He gave me my first job in Florida Championship Wrestling. He took me to Japan and everything. What was I saying? Fuck.
NWA and Sabu with Sabu.
Oh, speaking of Sabu, Sabu has worked for all the major companies, WWE. Worked with Cena and all these guys, and sellouts and big fucking 60,000 people in WCW and Japan and all the big companies there, New Japan, Giant Baba, Anoki, and FMW and all that, and worked for all these independents, and then became Mr. ECW. Wow.
Oh, man,
and he settled and loved ECW more than all those big companies. Of course, he liked the money, the payday, because we couldn't pay him, what he was worth. He was worth $6.5 million a year. That's what I think WWF should have paid him and kept him. But he was happy working in fucking ECW, making not the millions, but making good money. But man, he dedicated his whole fucking life.
He could have easily stayed in freaking Japan. When that bullshit happened about it was like Taz, but Sabu decided to wrestle in Japan instead of coming to wrestle Taz and all that shit. But fucking Sabu would have made way more money staying in Japan.
Oh my god!
Than he would have fucking in ECW.
No doubt, man. Because it's like you think about what Hanson and Brody did over there, and you have an element like Sabu coming over there and staying doing all that.
And he loved Japan. He married a Japanese girl, Tomi. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But then he found the love of his life, Jeannie. My goodness, man. We can tell stories about Sabu for days and days, and we were going to be talking about Sabu forever.
Oh, sure.
There's no reason not to.
Absolutely.
But the one thing that I have to mention is his double booking. This comes from the Sheik. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sabu would double book because he don't know if one's going to cancel on him or not.
Yeah.
So he would double book, and that ends up hurting him a little bit later on with bookings because you couldn't trust if he's going to show up or not.
Right. Yeah. But you cover your bases at the same time, so it's that double-edged sword of like, oh man, I'm gonna get at least one booking probably, but the one I'm gonna not fulfill two at the same time.
Yeah, but you better believe every weekend he was fucking busy.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
right? It didn't matter.
No. Didn't matter at all. Heck, how about the aspect too? I always think this is awesome. Like, and this story's been coming out more and more. Him working the dirt sheets, basically, like everybody thinking he's botching moves and things like that, but he's actually like playing into the aspect of like his wild nature, his wild persona kind of thing. Do you remember him doing that and kind of like?
I honestly, back then everybody had their own little work with the dirt sheets. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like the dirt sheet. Some of the guys who were
of course,
if a dirt sheet producer wasn't in the business, like I don't know, name a name, Dave Meltzer.
Meltzer.
So,
Yeah,
God bless him, God bless him. But Sabu didn't like it because he wasn't in the business. He was trying to talk about the business like he was he'd been a part of it. But that's what he didn't like. But that's
But I
how we
think
got a lot of information back then. Or they did. I never read them, but
yeah, no, I think it's great though that he would like work them by like, acting like he botched spots and stuff like that. And it was all intentional that he was doing it all too.
Yeah, that old school mentality. Fuck them.
Yep. Old school.
well, yeah, well, I know, but the thing is that there was no other answer to whatever the dirt sheet said.
Right.
They said what they said, and wrestlers didn't have a comeback. You know what I mean? We didn't have a Reader's Digest page.
Right.
No, you guys, yeah.
To the dirt sheets. You know what I mean? So they had all control over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true too.
I'm gonna fuck with you.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I'll fuck around.
Speaking of the dirt sheets, there was something that was posted. I just saw it today. It was posted like a day after Sabu died or something. It was what's the guy's name? Not damn it. He was a big shot in WCW or WWF. Behind the scenes, never wrestled.
Was in W.
Anyway, he pissed me off because he was talking about Sabu's last match, about his feet bleeding, about the kratom, about this, about that.
Dutch Mantel, were you thinking?
No, not Dutch.
No, Dutch wouldn't do that.
Okay.
No, I love Dutch Mantel. I worked with him in Florida.
I love him.
A little guy. Damn it, big name.
Wonder who it was. I'm trying to think.
It was in the office, like in a.
Well, not Russo, right?
Vince Russo.
Was it Vince Russo?
A little guy.
Kind of a little guy from New York. Has that bro?
He wasn't a little guy.
Okay, he wasn't a little guy.
Like 6 foot.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I don't know who the fuck it was, but when I see him, I'm gonna tell him if I didn't like that. I didn't like whatever they were talking. Just they were hearing things that people were posting, and none of it was true. We fed them drugs. We had to do this to create them. It was stupid.
Yeah, and all that stuff got like blown out of proportion of what it was, and
yes,
it's just ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Was it Russo?
I don't know. No, I don't think it was Russo. I'm trying to. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to throw names out there and be wrong. Like,
right.
Good job.
Thanks.
No reason to throw shit in the fucking fan.
Nope.
No. Well, they were doing. That's why I'm bringing it up. There was so much false information going. Fuck.
Well,
that's the business, dude.
Yeah.
We have the greatest fucking our internet capacity to talk to anybody on the planet, to create any group that you want, but people just want to use it for bad for some reason.
Absolutely. It's just like they want to throw out negativity because they're maybe unhappy with their lives, and it's
just fucking.
It's unfortunate.
It's stupid.
It is stupid. Triple E asked this question pertaining to WWE too. Does Sandman got any memories working with Sabu, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer at Mania 23 in the ECW originals versus the New Breed?
Oh yeah, my memory is I made 39,500 hours and I did 2 moves.
That's great.
I did fucking.
That's great, Daddy.
I did a clothesline over the top rope on Elijah Burke, and I did like a leg drop on Matt Striker. I remember.
That is a great memory,
dude. And I think Van Dam was pissed that he didn't get paid enough, and I think Van Dam actually went back and got more from Jim because Jim Ross was doing the paydays back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be the first time that I heard Van Dam complained about his pay. Good for him. I hope he got way more.
Yeah, I'm sure JR paid him. I'm sure JR filled all that for him. Let's see. There's some other good comments in here I wanted to make mention of. Chelsea's happened to say this, and this is funny too because I saw one too. A Cardinal visited me today and really thought a Sabu was visiting me. Like there was something about it. It's just a wow moment. Did you ever hear that when a Cardinal, when you see
Dude, I had a Cardinal visit me the day he died. And my back.
Me too. Me too.
That's-
It was that moment. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
Yeah, because I'd never seen a Cardinal in my backyard ever.
How about that too? Wow, that's nuts. That's so nuts. Harry Slash also added, "Thank you, Fonzie and Hack, for doing the show. Hearing folks talking about Sabu does help with the grief for sure. Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
It's helping me.
Man,
It's
just
helping
for
me.
response, would have Harry's freaking Motorhead did or the CD or whatever, did all the
Right, he had something to do with the music. He was born
Yeah.
a boy, lived in New
Man.
York, and all that badass. He always had that good smoke too, Harry
oh,
Daddy.
yeah.
That helps too for sure.
Oh, I remember him, Van Damme, and his wife. I don't want to tell the rest of this.
It's okay. Dirty Dick Flair, who I knew was good friends with Sabu near in the end, he said, "I had two Cardinals chasing each other over my house a couple days after." How about
Wow.
heck yeah. Rob DW shouts out to Paulina. Sorry for your loss on that, so appreciate that. Cool. I wanted to bring another guy that worked with Sabu on here. Jay, if you have your mic and your camera ready, I can pop you on. But Jay, yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Sabu and there's a story that you have about him.
Doing a typical run-in fashion as Sabu would do. How's it going, guys? Good to see you.
Hey, Jay Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, what's to say that hasn't already been said about Sabu? You know, I mean, one thing I did want to bring up first before I get into it, I guess, is Taz, I think, said it the best out of everybody on the podcast last week. I mean, and even on AEW when he said he was Aura before Aura was cool. I mean, that's like the realest thing you could probably ever say about him. Like, I don't know if that could be topped, honestly, but all I did and how I met Sabu, and I think the same way I actually met this guy, was right here. All I had to do was say, "Hey, Sabu, do you want to smoke a joint?" And he was down, man. I don't know what it was, but he was just down to chill. He was the coolest guy, man. And like, we just connected right after that. Me and Fonzie, like, same thing. Love you, man. It's good to see you, Fonzie.
I'm glad you connected with us tonight. You fit right in, Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we're PA natives holding it down. You're on Pittsburgh, I'm in Philly. Hack's in Philly holding it down. You know what I mean? I mean, he was just, everything you've heard about him is true, and it's all good, And if people are bitter or have something bad to say, then they really didn't know anything about Sabu at all. Honestly, in my opinion, like, they don't. And anytime he came to Philly, I never let him pay for anything. Never.
Well,
because
the last,
I knew
8 or 9 days, hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, have reached out to each other on social media, on X and this and Facebook and that, and showing videos, and my phone has not stopped since May 11th when Van Damme texted me early in the morning before he hit social media. He texted me earlier. I was wondering why Van Damme's texting me so early. He said, "Fonzie, exact word, Fonzie Daddy, we lost Sabu." And I thought in my head, I said, "Oh, we'll find him. He's, just lost for a day and a little, whatever, 2 night out or whatever." And so I called him. He said, "Oh, we lost Sabu." I couldn't fucking not believe it. But the outpour and the support has been fantastic, and Sabu deserves that and more. He's so well loved by the boys. That one of a kind person. We'll never get another Sabu, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. Oh man, yeah.
he was the greatest independent professional wrestler of all time, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was what
support independent. Let's say he was one of the top 10 greatest of them all time.
Oh, I would.
Rushmore.
All
Everybody
right,
says,
fine. I like that name better.
Yeah,
that guy Sabu's right up there.
But I think for
top 10 on the Rushmore.
Yeah, absolutely. He was down. He's definitely top. Mm-hmm.
I think to me, I mean, he's the greatest professional wrestler of all time. No offense to Bret Hart, no offense to Kurt Angle, no offense to Shawn Michaels, whatever. But as far as the indie scene goes, man, he's the guy that really kept it independent and bounced all around and just did something that nobody ever could do. Honestly, I mean, many have replicated, never duplicated. I mean, truly one of one. You look up one of one, and you're going to see Sabu right next to there. Honestly.
Thanks, Jay. Well said, kid.
Yeah. And, we had a great time in Philly. I was, very lucky on the last, we saw Hack at, ECW and we wound up going to Legion of Skanks podcast, which you just did. And I saw clips of it, Hack. It looked great, man. It looked awesome. Looked like you guys had a fun time, and I was like, man, I thought you were going to be caning everybody in there. I was like, everybody's getting caned. So it was
that hack where you came.
Oh my God.
How was that, Hack?
Dude, I'm so stupid. Like, right, this is the thing. So I don't even want to do the thing.
Oh yeah.
Telling me because of my podcast and all that, these guys got so many followers. It's good to go up there. I'm like, you freaking killing me. So the only reason I did it was because of my sons. I had no idea that everybody on the show was a comedian.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, and I'm just being myself. You know what I mean? And when I'm out there, and I'm like, God damn, these guys are funny as shit. And I'm the only person in the fucking existence that doesn't know that they're all comedians.
Yeah.
Yo. And Big J's from Philly.
Huh?
Big J Okerson. He's from the Philly area too.
Who the fuck's Big J?
He was
the guy that you were on the guy that was on the podcast with you.
One of them, but I didn't know which one.
Yeah. It was the guy with the spiky hair. Yeah.
Any of them. So we're on the ride home, and I'm talking to my sons. I'm like, yeah, I think it was okay. They're like, no, you fucking killed it. I said, dude, I told my sons, every one of those guys, everything they said was funny as shit. And they're like, yeah, they're comedians, Zach. I'm like, oh. I had no idea.
That's awesome.
So I was, dude, I'm out there and playing like I'm just it worked out well, I guess. But freaking, I had no idea what was going on when it was out there. I had no idea they were all professional comedians.
Yeah. Oh man.
No.
Yeah, they're pretty funny dudes. And Sabu, he kind of felt a little unsure about it himself, and I was definitely like, come on, man. Let's go have some fun. And, I told him the same thing, podcast numbers, it's a new age now where, trying to stay relevant, and I always just wanted to push him forward and put his story out there in good vibes, so he could have his legacy to just, say and just do something different and do something fun. And, and I've been.
Well, it's good too that somebody else is telling his story because he ain't the talker.
No, he ain't the talker.
But you know what? I will say though, when you get him in the right situation,
he will talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you know what it is? I think he would sometimes psych himself out. And I know because I do the same thing. I would get nervous. I mean, when we did the thing in Philly, so I took him to West Side Gun, the hip hop artist who's a phenomenal, one of the best of the last decade. I took him to that show, and he was telling me the whole night, come on, man, take the chair shot, because there was nobody to do it. Shout out to my man, 1,000 Words, for stepping in. And I was like, you know what?
So you wouldn't take a chair shot?
No, but I said, fuck it. And I pushed him like on stage. There's a video on West Side Gun's page. So I'm antagonizing him because he's Butterfingers and I slipped up with the chair. So I'm like, all right, get me back. Nobody caught it, but this is a little behind the scenes. But so,
yeah,
so I'm like,
you're kind of trying to explain the situation away right here.
But a little bit. But anyway, so he hits me with the chair, and honestly, I was bitching the whole time, and he called me pussy. But when it was all said and done, it was true professional. And I would rather take a chair shot from him than a kendo stick hit from you, Hack.
Oh,
sorry.
dude, but they I think I didn't even know that they were. I didn't meet any of these dudes before we went on TV.
You just went on there.
Because that's how I am. I didn't want to look those. Well, that's why I didn't know
Yeah.
that all comedians. And my son's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's funny.
that. He's like, yes, I've told you 10 times, Hack, but I just don't hear it.
Yeah. No,
I don't pay attention. And my thing is I don't listen to anybody else's podcast about wrestling because I don't want that to screw with my mentality and what comes out of my mouth.
Sure.
So I didn't want to know who these dudes were. My sons just say they were huge and they had this stupid name of a show. And I just went and have fun. I actually had fun this night.
That's great.
No, it looked great, man. It looked super solid. It looked like you were having a great time, and you know, it took Sabu, you know, a couple beers. You'll see him if you watch the interview. He's easing up a bit and having a great time, and yeah,
well,
I mean,
those guys, it wasn't like they wanted to talk a lot about wrestling. I mean, we might have talked about wrestling for like 18 seconds.
Right, that's it. And that's the kind of the nice aspect of going on those other shows where there's not wrestling fans. You don't get the wrestling question. It mixes things up a little bit.
And I'm back. Dude, my sons are like my one of my youngest there, Oliver, said, he goes, Hack, you're the best off the cuff fucking person there is. He goes, you will have a great time. He didn't even want to tell me about the thing. He goes, you're going to do fucking great on it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You know me. You know, I'm a total just like off the cuff person.
No doubt. Fonzie, we got to get you on there.
Yeah, Betty.
I'll make the call.
We can make it.
No, order the what the frick is the pyramid of fucking seafood? Because there's a nice ass restaurant that you go through before you go down into the comedy club where the show's at.
Nice.
Yeah, so they had some great seafood there.
Yeah, they got amazing
food. Florida, Daddy, we got 5-star seafood.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Philadelphia, I want a fucking cheesesteak from Jim's on South Street or the one Todd Gordon sends me
I'm
to
taking you
the fucking village.
Fonzie,
I like that new skinny Jimmy, you know, the mafia guy. He just open up his
whoa. We can't say that. He's a neighborhood advocate. He's a neighborhood advocate.
I love you know.
But yeah, Skinny Joey Molino, you know, I took Sabu over there.
Got a shop now in Philly.
Yeah, I took Sabu over to the after the arena. Yeah, so because we went to Oregon Diner, you know, previous times, but I was like, dude, you got to go to Skinny Joey's, and we do have a picture and everything, and it was like a crazy moment because I'm like, this is two totally different worlds and two guys that cut their teeth on the streets of South Philly. Like this is culture for me, you know. Right. So yeah, Fonzie, when you come in,
speaking of Philadelphia, I'm coming up. Let me give you guys my schedule. Sandman, you like this? I'm in Miami on the 7th of June. I'm in Kissimmee and Port St. Lucie the 13th and 14th. That's CCW, two big shows. On the 19th and 20th, I fly to Philadelphia to celebrate Todd Gordon's birthday, Daddy. One of my best friends who I love, RVD, just texted me. Can't we see what it says? I'm watching. Hey, RVD, Daddy, that's my boy. He's badass. Speaking of RVD, there he is.
Oh, yeah.
Great picture. I got so much stuff that I wanted to put on the show. This is us in Tokyo. RVD, Sabu, Fonzie, we're all over the place. But hey, let me finish my schedule. So the 7th of June, I'm in Miami, CCW. The 13th, Kissimmee, Florida. The 14th, Port St. Lucie. Then I fly in the 9th, that's for CCW. And the 19th, I go to Philadelphia for Todd Gordon, who's turned out to be one of my best friends and who I love. He's sick right now, but he's doing a lot better. And the 21st, John Thorne, AIW Cleveland. I can't wait, Daddy. And the list goes on and on and on. And Wrestlers Only got a big thing in Chicago coming up really soon, man. It's going to be huge.
Yeah,
just did that one in Los Angeles. I had a ball. I'm the manager of champions. I'm kind of a little bit in the office and the referee, called, stuff, and pretty damn cool. that's taking off, and people love it. People love WrestlersOnly.com.
Yeah, go to onlywrestlers.com. Sign up now, guys.
OnlyWrestlers.com, yeah.
Shout out. Major
Sure.
plug. Major plug.
Hack,
Major,
there's
major plug.
question, another comment here. Rob DW, thanks for the 10 pounds, London style. Stevie Richards told a story about Sabu laughing his ass off over Sandman saying to Stevie, cane me as hard as he can, but Sabu was telling him not to. How about that? No.
I don't remember Stevie ever saying cane me as hard. That's the story screwed up because that didn't come out of his mouth. No freaking way that came out of Stevie's mouth.
So yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, what that?
That's a hack fact right there.
The hack fact. Jay, is there anything else you want to plug? Thanks for
man. Just my absolute love to everybody in the Sabu crew. Josh. Cruz. They do the podcast. Hank Williams, Lindsay, Tara. You guys. I mean, there's so many people. That are his team, and we always had his back and always had his best interest, and that's all I've ever wanted for him. And that's what I told him since the beginning, and I could never tell him thank you enough. And he'd always say, "Stop telling me thank you, so I could stop telling you thank you." And he was just,
Jay. Hey Jay, I'm gonna give you a call. I'm in Philly next month around the 19th. I'll give you a call.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing I did for Sabu. I will always do. I will always do for you, and and I appreciate it.
Come hang out with us with Todd Gordon and stuff.
Would you say, Sam? Thank you for this. This is the gift from Fonzie, by the way, from last year. This was the best gift I ever received. It's a Sabu chair, and it has his name on it, and it has a footprint. So thank you for that, Daddy. I appreciate you. And it's funny too.
I'll see you on the 19th, Daddy.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, thanks, Jay. All right, we got another run in here. It is RVD. Rob.
Another
RVD, Daddy.
He's gonna kick my head off right here, like usual.
How's it going, man?
Coming in hot. Good, man. I just tuned in, and Fonzie, I think you were talking about Vince Russo. I heard Vince Russo talking.
Yes, that's exactly who it was, and I
So
was
it was Vince. It was
about how
Russo.
it was fucking. I didn't like it at all.
Out of his ass. It's when these guys talk about Kratom, it's almost like they should first say, this is something I know nothing about, but instead they come across like they know something, and then afterwards, then you find out, of course, what they said is stupid, but then afterwards, like Dutch Mantel, he's like, James, like, okay, you're going to talk about Kratom in a minute. He's like, Kratom, it's a horrible, horrible drug, and it's worse than heroin, way worse than heroin. And then he's like, of course, I don't know how you take it. Is it an anal depository? I don't really know. So at least you know. And then Vince Russo did the same thing. He comes up like an expert, and he's talking about, it's the FDA, bro, won't even approve it, bro. What the hell, bro? They won't even approve it, bro. If the FDA, bro, then what, bro? I mean, think of how bad, bro, that's got to be, bro. And it's like they would love to have control over and enter into the controlled substance list. And they've been trying to do that for a long time. But then afterwards, after that expert talks about it out of his ass, then he says, how do you say it? I don't know. It's Kratom. Kramen? What?
That's how that. Yeah.
Crayola.
But they don't know.
I can spell it, but I can't say it, bro.
Freaking Mustafa was smoking that shit back in the day. It was like
pencil shavings.
Basically,
Yeah, with
Dude, pencil shavings. He used to call. I've seen him roll a joint with pencil shavings.
You know,
I
we didn't know about Kratom way back then, though. They knew about it like in China and shit like that.
And RBD, you're so right about Vince Russo. It just rubbed me the wrong way. The
Yeah,
guy
bro.
in the middle, and one of the boys was kind of sticking up for it, and then the other guy was just agreeing with Vince Russo.
Yeah, EC3, like he's talking like as a user, saying that he's actually used it, and a lot of his friends have been able to get off of other drugs like heroin. He's got friends that were on heroin that were able to get off of it because then they would take Kratom. But then he has to give in and do a little. But then, you know, I mean, who's to say what's worse between the opiates and the Kratom? Then I don't know.
Or between the carpet that your fucking floor is made out of. Why don't you just smoke that? I mean, dude, seriously, what's the difference?
Between what?
Between fucking Kratom, I call it Kratom. You know,
yeah, a lot of people call it Kratom. That's acceptable.
Is it really defined as something? You know what I mean? Like does Kratom mean actually is like a word like Nike's like used or
no. Let me tell you. You don't. First off, you don't smoke it. Kratom is it's a leaf and it's a tree that's in the coffee plant family. They've been using it for thousands of years in the East, making tea and shit like that with it. Doesn't taste really great, but they dry the leaf up, crumble it up into a powder, and then you can either take the powder, they put it in capsules, gummies, all kinds of shit now. And then it attaches to your opiate receptors in your my MU receptors, Dom.
Yeah.
But it attaches to your opiate sensors in your brain, and it helps alleviate pain. It's great. I recommend it for all the time for people that want a relief from pain, especially like they're asking what's the best weed for pain relief. I say, well, I can tell you the best weed, but Kratom, is way better for pain, for sleep. It's great for sleep and also anxieties. And so there's a red, a white, and a green. And they say, you take the red to help you sleep. The white is supposed to wake you up. The green's supposed to be in the middle. Personally, I don't notice a difference. I've taken a long time. I think that they're all the same. And I've been told by two different manufacturers that it's all like the same leaf anyway, just different parts of the leaf that are different colors and that it's pretty much a work. But yeah, no, Kratom is specific. It's something called mitrogenia. And mitrogena also, and that by definition, that's what Kratom is.
Oh, yeah, dude, I had no idea, but now that you tell me that it comes like for the origin of it, it makes sense. I honestly thought it was just like literally potpourri that people were smoking.
Right, like a brand, like a generic name or something.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No, it's a legitimate wonder deal. It's not a wonder drug, but it's a legitimate thing that helps people. They've been using like that said for thousands of years.
Yeah, and it's good. I personally, I never get high off of it. I forget when I'm talking about it, recommending it to people. Sometimes I forget to tell them that people do get high off of it. But I've gotten high off of it 2 times ever, and that's over the last 5 years or so I've been taking it. First time was on accident because I took way, way, way too much because Sabu told me to take 3 ounces instead of 3 grams.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was my first time.
About mushrooms too. You can imagine how my next week went.
Yeah. Yeah. And one other time I just took I kept taking it because I wanted to find that threshold. Because I heard Joe Rogan saying, I get it now. I get why people are talking about it. You're getting high. I get it now. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I forget about that people get high on it or claim to. So one time I took so much. And then finally I was like, okay, I get it. I guess I could say, that, I feel really good. And I guess I could say I'm kind of high. That's it. Besides that, it just makes my pain go away.
Is it RVD? Is it possible if you take tremendous amounts to OD and die? Is it possible, or that's
There's
unlikely?
claims. Definitely, you can take too much. If it can it cause fatality? Well, there are claims of it. You know, I had a guy when I was advocating for it or recommending it, like I do now. I had a guy write in and say, "Rob, my son died of an overdose." And right away, like it's hard to not be biased and jump on the side of feds and say, well, wait a minute, what else was in his system? And, I need to know all the facts, because you always want to just point a finger and blame something. And that's why everyone jumped on this over Sabu, because they found out that he took this mystery drug that they don't know nothing about 3 weeks before he died. So they want to say, how dare GCW and Joey Janela? They killed him with that unknown drug, and it's stupid. But yeah, you can definitely take too much, and you can get addicted to it too. Like if you're addicted, I've heard people say that they got addicted to it. And I have gotten, when I first took it, I remember, and I was testing and stuff. I remember when I would take it for several days in a row and then stop, I would get restless, where I'm in bed and I just keep wanting to stretch my muscles. I can't get comfortable and stuff. But that's really like the worst withdrawals that I've ever gotten off anything, is just that restless feeling. So I'm not one to get addicted myself.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, a lot of misconceptions being thrown out there at the same time. And it's just like, people talking about it without having the knowledge about it at all.
Wait a minute. So is this stuff legal everywhere?
There are a few places where it's not legal. Maybe Nashville. There's like a few local jurisdictions where and like when I went to Japan, I had to look it up, and it was when I went for Noah, it was just a few years ago, but it was illegal to bring into there, and I was like,
put it in the tea, Rob. Could you make like a tea out of it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and there's places that are like bars that are kratom bars, and that's what they do. They give you teas and stuff. Yeah.
I just want to. I like the name of that. I want to go.
Yeah. yeah. I had somebody talk to me actually about putting my name on one a long time ago, and
make sure you get your money out of it, Rob.
Yeah, that's not usually how my business ventures go.
Just say
it. Yeah, but I do recommend it, and you get it at head shops, places that sell pipes and CBD will usually sell kratom, not pot stores or not Walmart. But you can also get it online.
So Rob, I'm a little bit bummed that in Pennsylvania they didn't get out of like city council almost for fucking for recreational marijuana.
What is it?
Not close.
It's not. Oh, they don't have recreational.
No, they have the thing where you get your license and all that. You know what I mean? But we were trying to go. Me, not even me at all. I just live here. We're trying to go freaking recreational.
Yeah.
Wow, build it.
Wow.
It'll come. Half the country's recreational.
Build it.
Yeah.
It's money in the bank. I mean, it's great money in the bank. The only problem is we're not one of the states that are broke.
Right.
All states that are broke, dude, we got Pennsylvania's got shitloads of money, dude. A lot of the people need that money from that, like in Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma. They need.
I've always thought, like in Pennsylvania, that there's such a large Amish and Mennonite population.
Dude.
I figure that they got to be like behind with their beliefs, right?
Or ahead with their beliefs.
But I don't even know if the Amish vote. So if I,
a quick, really quick story, if I can tell it really quick. When I went to wrestle for IWGP in Japan for Inoki, Simon Inoki, Sorry. Simon Inoki. Anyway, I'm over there and I'm at the Tokyo Dome Hotel and I get on the elevator to leave my room to get on the bus and go to the building. And there's another American that gets on and I figure he's one of the wrestlers, but I don't know him. And he introduces himself, Necro Butcher. Hey, cool. Good to meet you. And how's your day going? And he's like, man, you know what? He said, man, I got a call. I was just talking to my wife on the phone. We live in Pennsylvania, and they found marijuana in my wife's system while she's at the hospital in labor, and now they're saying they're going to take our baby. And
no.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, what? I just heard this story before I left home, and I was already reaching out to Rob Campia, trying to see if there's something we could do about it. I didn't know the guy was a wrestler or anything. I just heard about this horror story. And then here it is, and boom, he's the guy I'm wrestling tonight too. So it's one of those synchronistic things where I'm on the other side of the planet in the elevator with goosebumps because he's telling me he's the guy that I'm trying to help.
Nice.
And it was, but I mean, I always think about that with Pennsylvania, like, holy shit, they're gonna take his baby. Like they had to do something where the mother-in-law takes the possession, and that fucks up her job or her help from the government that she was getting, because now she's doing something different than what she was, and it's just fucked everything up. And I couldn't believe at that time that the government could have control like that, to where when you have marijuana in your system, so what? And they're gonna take your fucking baby.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
That was one of those stories that I thought, surely if enough people heard that that's the law, they would be against it.
Yeah, but think about this: how many people had a bagel that had seeds on it that they could have showed up for fucking heroin?
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a little bit weird to me, Rob. Like if a lady's going in and like they're not going to know that she has partner system right away. But either way, yes, Pennsylvania's fucked up. But the problem is we have too much money and we're never going to get it passed.
That's it. That's
well, eventually,
that's the bottom line, dude.
Eventually, either you will or the federal position will change on it, and then you'll be all set anyway. Got to, trust me.
That's a decade away.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Get there at some point or another, hopefully.
Talking about doing it soon, though. I mean, Biden was talking about at least reclassifying cannabis, and then they were saying they're going to follow through. What's that?
They've reclassified shit from that was 1 to a 2, 2 to a 3.
Oh yeah, they moved. Rob, you were talking about that those levels and stuff of
right, but they but I mean, look it up right now. It's a Schedule 1 with heroin and acid.
Wow.
Ever since 1970, and cocaine and meth are Schedule 2. It's safer and better for you and the environment.
I know. Yeah. I'm typing it in right now. First thing pops up, Schedule 1. Schedule 1.
Schedule 1 still. They haven't done shit since 1970.
That's great.
I want to go bitch slap Harry Anslinger's kids.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an arch enemy of mine for sure.
I knew Rob would love that line.
Yeah.
That's RVD's dream match is against Harry Anslinger, I think.
Three-way. Okay, so Rob, if you had a 3-way title match, you, Anslinger, and who would be the other third person in the match?
Who would be the other person you put in the match, Rob?
Sabu.
There you go.
Hey, Daddy.
Definitely.
Heck yeah.
Sabu against Harry Anslinger. I can imagine the spots you would come up with.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Pacololo, I travel all over the country, and I've never had a problem finding Pacololo. If it's legal, not illegal, immoral, or bad for whatever, everywhere I go, including everywhere. There's Pacololo everywhere. It's not like if it's only recreational or you can have a medical card or not legal. It's still predominant everywhere I go, especially in the sports entertainment business.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Or in the entertainment business, but everybody smokes it.
one of the things that I thought was really funny when me and Taz talked about Sabu on my podcast.
I just laughed.
You laugh at that, huh? Easy pop, easy crying. Anyone from Chicago here tonight? Oh, we were talking about weed, and we were talking about like when Louis Spicoli died, and Taz was saying, he said, I don't know if you remember this or not, but he said that we had a conversation where he was telling me I need to chill on the pills and stuff, which everybody did back then. And he said that I told him, no, dude, I don't even take it anymore. I stopped, when Louis died, and I just smoked my weed. And Taz said that at the time that he was like, doesn't this kid know that the weed's killing him? And in the meantime, he's got dip in his mouth, like.
Right.
And that's how it was. People were smoking cigarettes, killing themselves, telling me that I was doing dangerous drugs.
Doesn't he
A
know
lot of people still do.
How ridiculous is just that statement? That is so absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's somebody from 1865 talking. That's from anywhere near the time that I was born.
That's why Vince Russo pissed me off when I saw that little clip. I just saw it like 2 days ago or so. I couldn't believe how,
Yeah, kratom and weed are, just for anyone watching, two complete different things. They're both, let's say, in the holistic world of natural alternatives, and they're both stuff that I use and recommend. When there was all the news broke out, all the hype after, I guess it was Joey Janela's words, his post or interview
that really caught fire. Yeah,
it just the timing of that kind of sucked, and then everybody was like, what is this kratom? That's what did it. And, for sure, Sabu took kratom. He probably had his own. I mean, I know now that he got some earlier, but he usually has some. I usually have some, and I would have given him some if he didn't have any. If I saw him, so that was never even a question. A lot of people are really hyped about his feet, because it said in there, Sabu can't walk, his legs won't move, his feet are bleeding, and that Sabu's team had to super glue his feet. Well, just wait till you see the footage, because we do have it on the documentary that we're making. I'm glad that I saw it, and in my opinion, I think Sabu needed a pedicure.
That was it.
Okay, that's pretty normal for Sabu about the pedicure, and Russo was on about the bleeding feet. He kept, talking about it. And,
I didn't hear. I don't think I stayed with it long enough to hear that part.
I stay with him every inch, and I was pissing me off, and I can't wait to see him. Not that I'm going to do anything, but I'm going to say, hey, like, not cool.
Maddie says Russo versus Fonzie. Russo versus
One thing that Fonzie and Sandman that Dom knows, but one thing that I pointed out on my show that's really surprising is all the misinformation that people just regurgitate, and nobody does their own work to find out what the truth is. Even WWE, which, thank you for opening the show with the moment for Sabu, but they put a picture up of Sabu. They had his name, they said where he was born, they had his birth date, his age, and out of all that, the only thing they had right was his picture.
Right.
And so it's just regurgitated everywhere. His name wasn't Terrence, it was Terry. He was born in 63, not 64. He was 61, not 60. And he was born in Michigan, not New York, ever. And Paulina, I saw, was in a chat room earlier. If she's still in there, Hi, Paulina. That's my source.
Great, Paulina.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I saw her in there before. It's marijuana in there.
We have I'm sorry, am I talking over somebody?
No, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's like we have AI right now. How can you fucking print anything being a huge organization like that? That's wrong. That's just blatant freaking idiocy.
Yeah. But I do got to tell you this, in case you don't know, Sandman, AI is wrong sometimes. I found it wrong
Yes,
twice.
I know.
Okay, I've argued with it twice. You know, like
How deep did it get into the conversation?
one time I asked it, like, what were the first 4 hotels in Las Vegas or something like that. And I knew it was bullshit what it gave me. And I was like, what? Why would you even say that? Like, you're so far off. And then it was just like, oh, my bad. You're right. But why would you say that? Where'd that come from? I understand your frustration. You know, it was like that back and forth.
Hey, was the Desert Inn one of the first hotels? Desert Inn?
It was one of the first, but not one of the original. What do I see? The first was the Rancho, and then because Desert Inn was like I think built in 1950, and before the Flamingo, which was number 4, there was the Flamingo was built in finished and opened in December of '46. And then closed again. But before that, there was El Rancho and and I'm talking about on the Strip, not downtown. They already had the hotels downtown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. You got me. Right now I can't. I'm blanking on what the other 2 were after El Rancho. I want to say Hacienda, but I don't think that's right. Oh, Frontier, the old Frontier.
WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's where it was.
Nice. Yeah.
What was that? WrestleMania 9?
Yeah.
What was the main?
Yokozuna, right?
Yeah, Yokozuna, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Yokozuna Hogan at the end.
One of the top 4 matches was Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez, who I took care of.
Yep.
Lawrence Southwick had a plan. Were very cool.
What was that finish, Fonz?
A choke slam. The referee had disqualified the Giant for choke slam and Fonzie.
Wow.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Why didn't they just beat the Giant? Fucking.
I don't know.
And wait a minute. So that was Undertaker. He didn't have a loss, so that was in his no losing record.
I don't think Undertaker was complaining about the deal, but that was just a finish that we got, you know.
DQ finish. Paulina, she does chime in, Rob. She says you're right, like about what you were saying about that. So thank you, Paulina.
That's Sabu's sister, everybody.
Yep, Sabu's sister.
Hey, Paulina.
Sabu's sister.
There's no room for questioning anything. You know, some of the people are going to listen to this podcast and they're going to go and they're going to be stupid and they're going to say, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know which one to believe.
Right.
What's her name? Sabu's sister.
Paulina.
Hey, Paulina. Can you meet me at a wrestling match and do a triple jump just so I feel like it's like him there?
Sabu is one of 8 siblings.
That's what she told me. That's so
wow.
8 siblings. I did not know that.
I'm 6.
So
really,
the only one I knew about was Paulina that he mentioned, throughout, our friendship. But other than that, I didn't know he had 7 other ones besides Paulina.
5 left now. So you'll probably meet him. It is at the services, which currently is being held up. I explained on my show, everything is being held up right now because his ex-wife, he told me in Japan, is the next of kin. Even though they've been split up for decades, they didn't officially get divorced on paper, so that's holding things up right now.
All right, Rob, but just so you know, I've been through something like this. Any lawyer will get you right around that.
Yeah, there's a waiting period, and after so long, it'll roll over to Paulina, I believe, and so but in the meantime, that's why no matter what bullshit you hear somebody say, like Kenny Casanova claiming he talked to Paulina, and so the cause of death, as he said on Hannibal, is such and such.
Who the fuck is that idiot?
He's the guy that wrote the book, the Sabu book. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Sabu's
seriously.
People are going to use his book as a source, Hack, and it's really sad because the guy that wrote it didn't know Sabu, the way that Sabu talks, or what he says, why he says what he says, and it's so obvious. One of the on the back page or after the book, there's a whole list of fuck yous, and I understand Sabu wanted to take that out, but I don't know at what stage, if it was too late or what, I don't know. But he got heat, I guess, over it. To this guy, fuck you, you were stiff, you never sold shit. To this guy, but like one of them, Test, I believe he said, I will reserve a fuck you for you, but you, sir, I could do without. Can you imagine Sabu talking like that?
No.
That's the whole book.
Years.
No way, right?
That's the whole book. And you read the book and it's not Sabu, so I can't attach to it. I couldn't get past the foreword written by me. He's got me quoted as talking about when we were training, and I'm sure he's listening right now and hating that I keep saying this over and over. But he's quoted us when we're at me and Sabu training, and I say we literally beat the shit out of each other until we were dead every single day. Made me sound like a dumbass. I mean, by the way, Stevie Richards said about Sabu, he literally marched to the beat of his own drum. And I'm like, does Stevie know what literally means? Can you imagine him like marching and having a bass drum? Boom, boom, boom.
To a literal beat.
But anyway, they haven't released the cause of death, so everything's bullshit or speculation.
Right. All right, so Rob, is this dude's like, right? Is this dude thinking right now, like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I'm doing this book about this dude and he dies?
I sure hope not. No, I don't think so. I'd like to think that Kenny has good intentions. He sat with Sabu, interviewed him, however many times, and then kind of did his own thing. And obviously, in my opinion, did not capture the spirit of Sabu or his personality at all. So I just can't read it. And it's always going to be a source. People are going to go to and say, well, he said right here in his book. And then as soon as they say anything, he didn't say that. He didn't talk like that, And Sabu wasn't going to proofread it ever because Sabu didn't read.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
He was hopefully he made some money off of it, hopefully off some books selling. But I hate that that's going to be used as a source for Sabu forever. Even on the other podcast, James, that bloke that does all the guys, he quotes like from the book. Well, Sabu even admitted in his own book here, he says, well, when I this, and this, and I'm just like, oh.
Man.
But he, I didn't want to say anything while Sabu was around because he was making money and getting paid when the book was selling, so I didn't want to bury it. But now that he's gone, and I still don't want to, talk shit about the guy, but I said what I said. He did not capture our friend
Sabu's voice. We should get Brian Solomon, the guy that wrote the Sheik's book. We should get him to write a new book on Sabu or something.
Yeah, well, I've talked to both of them about my book, by the way, and I know for sure I'd be leaning one way strong over the other.
It's like it will be so much easier writing a book about me because of like my drunken character, but Sabu's hard. If you don't know him, how the fuck can you write a book about him?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can project me with the freak I was doing, but somebody like Sabu that was so innovative and so like on the breaking edge of any wrestling thing. You know what I mean? How can you actually write a book about him?
Yeah. To follow up about Stevie Richards, Rob DW did offer a correction hack. It was Stevie caning you, and you were telling him to cane for you to cane him as hard as you could. And Sabu was laughing about it because he was, I think, apprehensive about it. So
all right, wait a minute. I was saying, dude,
you were telling Stevie to cane you as hard as.
Hold on, please. That read was horrible. Start again and slow it down.
Okay. All right. So he said, correction. It was Stevie caning Sandman, not Sandman caning Stevie. Okay. Sorry for the misunderstanding. So it was the other way around. So Stevie was going to cane you. And
what did I say?
And you were like, cane me as hard as you can. So Stevie Richards told a story about Sabu laughing his ass off over Sandman saying to Stevie, cane me as hard as you can, but Sabu was telling him not to. Sabu was.
Steve, that's the part of the story. I had it right totally, didn't I?
Yeah, you had it right.
Well, if it's me, I'm like, yeah, dude, you have to hit me as hard as you possibly can. I knew that, like, as my character, it's like you're Clint Eastwood. It kind of, you know what I mean? It's like you're Clint Eastwood or you're freaking Wild Bill Hickok. You know, going into like the OK Corral. Dude, that was my every Friday night and Saturday night. I would go back in those days. There was pool tables in every bar. I was arrested at least 25 times for bar fights before I was 21.
My gosh.
That was shit to do, but I used to roll with one Bill Maws. He went and played for Kansas City nose tackle for like 12, 15 years. Percy Austin, who went and played for like Green Bay or something, and then another George Schmidt who ended up having like 3 years with his Cardinals, and then the other couple guys were all like black belts in karate. Dude, we just went and rolled and just beat the shit out of people every Friday and Saturday night.
What a way to
hell was. You were arrested all the time. I don't even know on this one.
That's all right. But we'll close it out with this. Frankie Turizo. Fonzie, you got something to show? What do we got here?
I just got so much paraphernalia and wrestling memorabilia. It was a show, WrestleFest, 50 years of the Funks. Terry's last match in Amarillo. Terry Funk, Bret Hart, Mankind, Sabu, Dory Funk Jr., RVD, Bushwhackers, Jay Youngblood, the Youngblood Boys, Balls Mahoney, Sandman, you were on here too. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Wait, Fonz, what I want to know is that doll that I gave you a couple weeks ago, it doesn't have a spot yet?
Yeah,
remember?
Oh, no, he showed it. He showed it on the podcast last time.
Yeah, I sure did.
He showed it on the episode 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
I sure did. I got so much cool stuff that, it's just...
Look at that. Hell yeah.
No, this fan was cool as shit. He comes up with $3. He wants me to sign one and he gives me 2 or something like that. I'm like, oh, darn. Come on, I want one of those for my room. I'm like,
hell yeah.
Take it.
Look at that. The champion pot smoking. Hell yeah. URVD Sabu. Should have been the cover.
All right, Fonzie, can you bequeath me your wrestling room, please?
Yeah, Daddy.
Bequeath.
What a line. What a phrase.
I knew you would like that.
That's the word of the day, bequeath. All right, we'll close out with this guy. This will be Frankie Turizo. It's a pretty simple question for the $2. Favorite thing about sharing the ring with Sabu? Rob, let's start with you.
I'll go if you need a minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, dude. My favorite thing about being in the ring with Sabu was his fucking his confidence. Dude, you can see the wrestlers' eyes, dude. Like if they're with you or they're not. You know what I'm saying? Sabu was always with you. He's always like piercing you. He's like, let's fucking go.
That's a great one.
I think for me, I think it was the connection. I always felt connected to him, even if if we're in a tag match and wrestling a couple of Japanese guys in Japan where people aren't even speaking English. I could be out there in the middle of the ring, boom, doing an arm drag, have him in a hold, the Japanese guy, and I could turn over to Sabu and I could just try and make him laugh, be like, boom. Hey, he grabbed my ass. Did you see that? Or something. And Sabu, and I loved making him laugh because he always wanted to be so serious.
Yeah.
It was important to him to be seen as, as serious like the Sheik. Like that vibe that he wanted to put out there was always really important. So I always loved that that I didn't take him seriously, and so I could like pierce through that. And whether I was wrestling him against him or he was my partner, either way, I felt a kind of connection that I just can't feel with anybody else. That's gone forever. Like there won't be anybody else to replace that. Where it felt like I was in there with my brother. Yeah.
Hey, just real quick, those two as a tag team. I mean, think about it. Can you imagine those two in the WWF?
Oh my God!
You have as a tag team. Wow.
I loved when I came out dressed like Sabu.
Yeah, against me.
Yeah.
Do you remember what town it was?
No, we did it twice though. One time was Halloween, and there was another time. Was it Halloween with you? It might have been you both times, actually.
Dude, it was a pay-per-view, and me and Sabu had wrestled each other so many times. Paulie wanted to open up with us. We were in Asbury Park, and
oh no shit!
And Bam Bigelow
pay-per-view in the opening match.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I did it twice. One time was Halloween, and a lot of the wrestlers dressed as themselves, like Jerry Lynn dressed as Mr. JL or whatever, and I think Just Incredible was Aldo Montoya, and they were doing like that. And I was like, Sabu, give me a pair of pants, and I just thought my hair's darker when it's wet, so if I wet it and like had it all down,
I just saw that match where you dressed up like Sabu.
Yeah, I think
in Asbury Park, Fonz?
What's that, man?
In Asbury Park?
I don't know where it was, but
I know for a fact it was the pay-per-view at Asbury Park opening match where RVD came out just like Sabu.
And I think the Halloween one, I think we did the Halloween one first, and I think that might have just been a house show somewhere. And the way I remember it is different than the footage that I see of us, because the one I see of us, Sam, man, I come running down and do this flying kick, right? I teabag you on my way over your head or something.
Same with me, dude. I'm like, I remember it totally different than how the fuck it really happened.
Yeah, I think I remember the other one because I remember I come out first to Sabu's music, and
baby,
I started on you, boom, 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 boom. You start getting the better of me.
That was it.
You're beating the shit out of me, and then the real Sabu comes down.
That's the one. That's Asbury Park.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the one I remember. That's different than the one where you got the table you're setting up or some shit. Yeah.
There's so much stuff that we have done that we forget about. So in the last, since Sabu passed on May 11th, the Mother's Day, people have been showing so much footage of different matches. I can't believe. And then 30-second clips and 2-minute clips of Sabu doing stuff in Japan and with Van Damme. And it's been so crazy that I forgot about. So how did Sabu survive all that, man? My God, the bumps and crazy stuff that he took. I can't believe it. And he kept going. All the stitches, the ripped open arm with the Terry Funk barbed wire, finish the match, taping it up, taking a reverse neck breaker. Crazy stuff, Sabu. My God.
Yeah. Fonzie, what was your favorite thing about sharing the ringside and the ring with Sabu?
Well, him being so always taking care of me, like when we did that famous photo shoot with so many things, wrestling and off wrestling. We did the famous High Times magazine, and we shot that in Philadelphia. And they locked the doors. It was a special fucking shoot, all kind of photographers. It was a big deal. And so they brought an ounce of pot to Van Damme and an ounce of pot to Sabu, and Sabu stuck up for me and said, "Hey, Fonzie too." So they had to bring me an ounce too. So how good he took care of me. My God, he was so generous and so cool. Order like you're paying and I'll buy. I'll never forget little things like that. And how did he finish all those hardcore matches, man, and never complain. My God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
No, never. The only time you could hear him complain is if he went like, "Oh, when he was like getting up from a chair or something like that. You know, he's like, oh, that was just him. Dude, what
Yeah.
I
wish I had a couple more decades with him. That's for sure.
I know it.
Man, yeah, it's been awesome to share the stories with you guys, and like, I mean, and you guys could talk for eons about it. And it's like I only got to know him for a little bit over a year, and it was just I feel very blessed.
Dude, I only got to know him for a little bit, and I've easily wrestled him more times than I've wrestled every other person like on the planet.
Wow,
I had like a one-on-one match with him.
Same, I could say the same. Yeah.
That right?
Yeah. And yeah, and also, and Sandman, you're one of the. Oop, I didn't hear you, but you're one of the guys that instantly were cool with me just because Sabu said, you know, he's cool. You know, and so boom, all right, if you're cool with Sabu, you're cool with me. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's a great thing to end it on, I think. What a show. Man, we had Rob, we had Sandman, we had Jay come in, Fonzie. You were the master of ceremonies, so appreciate it.
We doing ours tomorrow, though?
Yeah, we can do it up tomorrow. You ready for 9 p.m.? You want to do 9 p.m.?
Sure. Yeah, we'll talk about Sabu some more, and maybe I can show a little bit of the documentary. I don't know.
Yeah, pitch it to Joe if you want.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it. Whoa, lights out.
Lights out, Sabu's here.
Spot hack.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this.
That's okay. You can just exit out. Are you just on your phone?
Okay, dude. I needed my Tyler. I need Tyler whenever I do any of these Zooms. Tyler that was in the Raven angle, the kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have my kids live with me, dude. It's the greatest thing ever. My sons, my grandsons, I got a big house. We all live together.
That's awesome.
But I wouldn't be on this if it wasn't for Tyler.
right.
But that's how I don't know how to get out of it.
I know me and Fonzie both can relate to. We got to have somebody help us with the.
My 13-year-old grandson's a genius, and I can.
He'll hook you up, right, Fonzie?
I use my 34-year-old life.
You guys are fucking still here. I'm
still here. You can't get rid of us, Hack.
No, I'm getting fucking hot now, dude. This is pissing me off.
I'll just end the show and then we're all done.
No, I got it.
See you, Hack. Love you. I was just gonna say, I don't know if you saw, but a trailer. The Joe Clark started sending this trailer out of the Sabu documentary, and
I saw the trailer. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
it made me cry when I saw it the first time. Because of Sabu talking about, if I die right after this match, it's okay, or however he worded it, and then just watching it and trying to get, okay, what's next? Like, which parts did he choose to put in there? Because I saw all the footage, and then what he chose to put in the trailer just really moves me. And like I said, we have the super gluing. We have him before and after his match. So you're going to get to see all of that. So, too bad there's no accountability, because a lot of people that are running their mouths, talking shit, and I want to talk about them tomorrow too. Maybe I'll find some, and teach them some accountability. Just might help put them on the right path. Some of them, they might not know that they're, but anyway, I saw one comment. One dude said, still, there's no way you can tell me that Sabu hitting his head didn't have something to do with his death. There's no way we can tell you, like, no matter what. So, like, if the coroner investigator comes back and says it was like a strong mixture cocktail of medicines that had a bad combo, that no, you can't, no, better, but people are just like that. There's no accountability, so they say whatever. There's definitely claims that are a lot worse than that, but I just brought that up. But anyway, we trying to powder. Thanks for having me on, Fonzie Daddy. Good show, from what I saw. I know we love Sabu, so as long as we keep talking about him, his energy's still here with us.
I put him in the mail today along with about 25 pictures that I think you enjoy. Me, you, and Sabu, or you and Sabu, but all related to us, you know. And this is a shirt that
Awesome.
I
Just
think
like you
Sabu
said.
loved.
Yeah, for the upcoming Japan tour that you were going to have.
I know, damn it.
Maybe we can trade. He told me one of those for a couple signatures.
There we
Right?
go.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Like it.
I don't know if Paulina's still in here. Love you if you are. Oh, she said good night.
Good night, everybody. So
Bye,
thank you.
Paulina.
Good night,
Yep.
everybody.
Bye, babe.
Good night. And God bless Sabu. We'll see you guys next time here on Right Down the Middle with Fonzie. And hey, thank you, RVD, too. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.